Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod, CEO Wisdom Pod. We have Roman Mendoza with us. He's a PhD. He's in AI for market leading solutions. He's driving data innovation with predictive analytics and NLP. He's in Mexico City, in Oaxaca, Mexico. So he's CEO of Quantum Analytics since almost 5 years now. So we're going to talk about AI, his company, and his background today. This podcast is presented to you by my podcasting company. It is called podpire.com. If you want to start your own podcast and get leads, get sponsors, and get AdSense to pay you, you can go to podpire.com. We have a masterclass with a nice holiday promo that you can get right now. Roman, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation, Charles. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's quite interesting the idea how you approach me, and I started reading about okay, who's Charles and why did he contact me, right? And I started to see what you're doing, and I thought that's a quite interesting idea to approach things, and I'm totally on board with it. So what I do, I started my own company 5 years ago, approximately. It's Quantum Analytics. It's Mexican company. And we build AI solutions in which we are basically trying to not only come up with the idea, because a lot of consulting companies present fancy ideas, right? But the execution parts are often left with the customers, which actually the statistics shows that they have a 75% failure in executing the ideas. So we are trying to merge those things then and solve that issue, right? We are pretty good at bringing interesting solutions, but also we are integrating solutions with the current business, with the customers, with the companies, which are the ones that hire us, right? And this is what we are doing. And we also, what we do is use the current tools that exist, AI, machine learning, natural language processing, which help us solve a lot of the problems with our customers.
Right. And why start your own business and not keep on working in the corporate world like you were doing?
Thank you very much for that question, actually, and it's most of a philosophical answer. I have had 12 years of corporate experience, right? I started working with the largest retail company here in Latin America, which currently is from Sinaloa, and then I migrated to the largest bank in Mexico that works in Mexico and Latin America, and after that I worked with 3 years with the largest financial institution in the world, right? And I saw an issue among all those companies. And I thought when I joined that company, the bank, they are not going to have a lot of problems that I see here. And when I shifted from the bank to the financial institution, which is a leading financial institution in the world, I thought they have definitely solved those issues. What issues I'm speaking about is that running a business, it's very expensive. But what are the largest portions of this expense? It's in case of innovation, it's the services that I use, right? If I'm trying to sell
Yes.
investing solution and I'm marketing that at $100, basically $80 of that price goes to keeping your business operation, and those $80, basically 50 or $60 go to keep running your technological services. And that's very, very expensive. Why is that? Because you tend to be dependent on technological companies that provide you those services. And when you try to bring that service, I'm speaking specifically of the financial institution, and bring that to Latin America, to emerging market economies, you see that, okay, our baseline model costs $50,000 a year. And that's great in the United States and in UK and developed markets. But when you try to put that price into emerging markets economies, you see that we are not able to adjust that price to what the market is able to pay in emerging markets, because your costs are higher than the price that the market is going to pay. And okay, why aren't we able to ourselves to be able to adjust those costs according to the products and the services that our new market is willing to pay, right? And this happens across all the world, from the retail company. That's what I see. That's why it's so expensive now to be able to keep running a technological business. So I'm thinking we need to go back to our core basically in the technological innovation developing system, broader market, right? It's something that my one of my mentors used to say.
Do you,
When right now programmers are somewhat lazy because you're thinking only your part of your solution in your business, but anything that you do and you change in your perimeter will definitely affect your partners, your peers, and the company at a broader level. So you need to keep all the chess pieces in the board that are played when you make any adjustment, placement, or development within your responsibilities in the company, right? It's. I'm going to bring a very old example. When we went to the moon, the programmers that were in the Apollo program, were thinking, okay, I'm building this solution, I'm building this, but how much energy, cost, will bring to the whole project, to the whole ship that needs to be traveled to the moon, going back, right? So you need to think every possible outcome and every moving part that or for the work project will be affected by any decisions that you make, basically.
right. Uh, do you only have clients in Mexico or do you do international? And how's the AI scene in Mexico? Do you feel it's right for AI disruption or is it going to get behind?
Actually, we are currently behind. Most of our demand is from the outside. Canada, actually, we have few clients. I'm trying to join United States. Surprisingly, in Colombia and in Brazil, we have a lot of clients, right? Mexico wants to join the AI, wants to bring, but there have a lot of entry barriers. First, in the costs. Second, in changing the mindset and how current business operate, right? I have seen fully grown companies still depending, I don't know, on Excel, right? On Excel sheets, right? Uh, that are currently work. I don't know how those companies are currently in business, but when you're trying to bring an innovation, an AI solution, they are quite reluctant to look for it.
Right. And generally speaking, on your end, who are your clients precisely? Is it like banks like BBVA? See that you've worked at Coppel also. Is it like big companies or do you also deploy AI solution at smaller companies?
Actually, my target is smaller companies, not because I don't want to attend larger companies, because if you're able to bring a solution that is cost efficient and is also a contundent solution for a small or medium-sized client, that will be easier for you to bring or to adapt to a larger customers. That's why I need to be able to build a product being cost and time effective for the average consumer, for the 80% of the companies that are out there that are not large companies.
Right. And do you feel like bigger companies will benefit the most from AI or also smaller companies? And then in what departments, right? Like me on my side, I do AI sales. I think that's the hottest because everyone wants new sales, right? But it's also
Yes.
being deployed in an area like customer service, data management, operations, and so forth. So first questions, will it benefit bigger companies, smaller companies most? And second, in what department?
Okay. Well, I think currently largest companies are actually benefiting from the AI because they are not cost restricted. So actually, the BBVA adopted like, okay, I'm going to pay the ChatGPT tool for 10,000 employees, right? Which maybe it's $25 for each one of them, but if you add that, it's millions of dollars for a year. If you want to do that for a smaller company that maybe has 100, 200 employees, maybe it's $4,000, $5,000 a year expense, right? But it's not that every company has the luxury to do so. So I think larger companies are benefiting now because they have the capital to do so. And the smaller companies will be benefit when they start to adapt to that technology and start to embrace it. Their impact is going to be significantly larger, the AI in their medium small companies, than what is currently doing for the largest companies, mainly because they don't they spend a lot of that. That's just like the benefit, but also it kills their profit.
And what about the next couple of years? We're seeing ChatGPT evolve at a pretty fast rate. Do you believe that we may hit a point in which there's this AGI and this singularity in which we can't control this technology and keep on advancing faster and faster?
I think we already have reached that point in which AI and innovations are being brought to us faster than we are able to understand all of them, right? I think we have reached that point already, and that every day we're going to find out a new application, a new innovation that we will reach out when we start to understand all of them, it will be obsolete, right? Because we have no more solutions that we are able time to comprehend.
And what does that mean for people that cannot adapt to technology, that do not want to learn? Is like UBI going to save them, universal basic income, or what would that mean to a common mortal that doesn't adapt to the fast pace of AI and its development?
And I think that people naturally will start. Most people have been using AI from somewhat as a, and they don't know, right? For instance, you use a social network and it's AI in the background, understand how you behave and what you do and what you're doing, and the AI adapt your uses and necessities to what you're seeing in the social network, right? And they don't know they have been using that AI for them. The YouTube services, the music, all that uses AI in the back, but they don't know they're being using AI. So, and for the native speakers, meaning that people that already have been born with that technology, the new generation, Gen Zs, that they actually cannot live without their phone and their technology. I think that they are so used to it that they won't know a world in which they don't use it as a solution. And I think that's a double-edged sword.
Right. How are you using AI for your own company in various departments to accelerate your growth?
Yes, thank you. Well, actually, we have been using this as an, we all use it. I use it personally for solve like daily tasks, write an email. So, to solve bugs in my code, actually, I use it. And I think actually I've been over dependent on that. I think I need to learn to control that. But we use it for everyday activities. And actually, we have been as using it as a solution for ourselves, we have been able to integrate it in our solutions. So we actually are also users, but we are also uh, promoting and implementing the use of AI. For the business, for sales, as you mentioned, AI solutions for their customer base. Okay, we can create for you an AI for answer your emails, for answering your phone calls, for answering your messages. And actually, this helps a lot of the companies in reducing their operating costs and improving their costs and the rate, improving their sales.
Got it. And yeah, what have you seen that has been challenging in your business and in your field in the last couple of years? Have there been tough moments in the business, and how have you surpassed these tough moments?
We have some pivotal moments actually in which, as I mentioned, right, a challenge for larger companies is that sometimes they are over dependent in those external services for them to keep operating. For instance, an ERP, which actually is quite costly, right? I'm bringing a large example, a broader example, but what I'm saying is, okay, in case that expense, you need to reduce it, adjust it, or make an adjustment in how do you operate depending on that services. Your business is so dependent on that it's so expensive and so complicated for you because you have been so used to it for years of uses that when you want to change that, you are not able to do so. And I saw that when we started working with, okay, let's use web services in the cloud for or servers for us to develop our product, right? And you can start paying X amount while you keep your product development to the cloud. But when you start to grow and you start to bring more clients and your operations start to expand, your costs start to expand as well because It costs you per size, per time, per computational power you use in the cloud. And so when you want to increase your customer base and start earning more money, your costs may be get out of control. It happened to a competitor of us in which they had a lot more of capital than we had. They had like $5 million liquid, and they spent most of it in buying cheap cloud tokens, credits, right? But those tokens, if you don't spend it in X amount of time, you lost them, right? And what happened? They lost their customers, they didn't have cash, and they lost like $2 million in having credits in the cloud that they never used. And they were expecting like, okay, we're going to have a lot of customers, they're willing to pay what we're already charging, and when we spend, and we're going to use that credit because we buy that pennies on the dollar. And that never happened. And the company went out of business in under 6 months. And actually, when they actually came and talked to me like cautionary tale, and I turned back and went to my peers and okay, we need to stop working being so dependent of that because we are becoming what I don't want, and what I have been seeing, like we are being so cost driven by our technologies that we are depending on external services that we may not be able to recover from a downturn. And actually, when we close that account to that provider, actually we lost our main contract. So if we hadn't that closed that contract, we might be run out of business like 3 years ago. This was the greatest challenge that I have been brought.
Wow, yeah, that's a good one. Your goals for this year, do you feel you've reached most of them? And what would be your 2025 goals?
Actually, I only had one goal for this year, and it was I want to build a product from end to end in under 1 year, and without thinking I'm going to spend $1 million. And so I'm saying because if you put a budget on that, all the people in the teams will say, okay, we need to spend all that budget, and that's not right. So what I say is I try to use the smallest amount of money possible to the project. And the goal was to, okay, I want to be able to produce from end to end, from the market analysis to the solution presented to the potential customer base, to building a prototype, present it back, checking all the regulatory that is around managing that kind of product in the market, and build that and get it out by before the end of the year. I was able to comply that goal, and we actually launched that product on November 5th, actually, and we did it well under budget. And for the 2025, my goal is to, okay, we are able now to produce a product, completely working product in under a year. Now I want to be able to keep it operating under certain constraints, which will avoid us exponential cost increases when we start to expand our operations to international or global markets. I hope so.
Well, Roman, thank you for coming today. Where can people find out more about you and your company?
The web page is quantumanalytics.mx, and you can find me on LinkedIn also, and you can chat over there.